I didn't realize I was inspired by this amp until embarrassingly late in the game. Let me explain. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and the world is a better place with you in it. There ought to be plenty of timestamps in the video description, so please check those out if you are interested in specific parts of this video more so than others. Anyway, story time. Since I was in high school, I've been a big fan of the general Americana genre, with one of my favorite performers being Kathleen Edwards. Her guitarist Colin Cripps, also of Blue Rodeo, has always had downright enviable tone to my ears. But I listened to Kathleen a lot when I was in high school, and I wasn't super duper into gear at that point, so I never thought about how Colin got that tone, at least not very much. It was only after researching the Walrus 385 Mark II that I learned Colin was a fan of amps that had a bit of a unique genesis. You already know that guitarists are tinkerers, and a bunch of those tinkerers took to repurposing old Bell & Howell Filmo Sound 385 projectors and turning them into guitar amps. According to an interview Colin did with CBC Music back in 2017, he picked up his 385 film projector-based amp in 1993. It was built by a guy from Hamilton, Ontario named Bernie Rowning, and they were known as Bernie amps. The 385 Mark II isn't specifically based on any one brand of 385 style amp. It's kind of a general DIY thing that a lot of people did, but the sound of that amp really inspired me, so I was stoked to try out this pedal. And as you might have gathered, this video is sponsored by Walrus Audio. Thoughts and opinions are all mine. Ears are all yours though. I'm not sure how many of you have experience with these, let's call them 385 Filmo Sound style amps. I sure didn't, but you've probably heard them even if you're not big fans of Canadian Americana like I am. But you may be familiar with the original 385 pedal from Walrus. In brief, the 385 is modeled after the 6v6 loaded version of the Filmo Sound, and it runs internally on 18 volts to replicate the headroom and touch sensitivity of the original tube circuit. The Mark II takes the sound of the original and turns it into a multi-channel amp. So we have 2 volume and 2 gain controls. A is over here and B is over here, so you can easily toggle between unique settings like 1 clean channel and 1 higher gain channel. We also have shared treble and bass controls in the middle, as well as a 385 plus switch under the channel A controls, which quote, adds an additional gain stage at the front of the circuit for thick, saturated gain with tons of sustain. So let's hear it. First is a lower gain overdrive, and then we'll get into the nasty stuff. I'll be making volume and gain adjustments on the A channel, but I'll be sure to show off the channel toggle later. I'm using my Kiesel Mark 66 guitar through the Benson Chimera plugin with a bit of the Tall Bird Reverb plugin, both from Mixwave. I'll bounce around the pickups a little bit, but I'll probably largely focus on the bridge humbucker. Here's my clean tone. And engaging the pedal with the gain all the way down, volume at about 2 o'clock and tone stack in the middle. Already that's delivering a lot of character. It's giving more life to an amp model that I'm running extremely cleanly. I can already see this as being somebody's always on pedal. Let's hear it in the middle. And on that neck P90. Let's sweep the tone controls so you can hear that. And I'm gonna go to the middle for this. That's a lot of range, and using those tone controls has a lot of effect on the overall character to my ears. Both bass and treble at noon are awesome, but I like them pushed just a little bit too. I can understand if you feel like you need more, and this has it, but I like it here. Now I'll bleed in a little bit of gain back at the bridge. This really is responsive to pick attack. At lower settings like this and below, you can really dig in to get that natural sounding breakup. Going back down. Nice. I think that's what people mean when they call an overdrive amp-like instead of pedal-like, but let me know what you think that means in the comments. And we'll go ahead and keep cranking that gain. Yeah, that gets properly gnarly, and it's a very distinct kind of tone that reminds me a lot more of a pushed amp than many pedals that I've played, and I bet it would feed back really nicely if I was plugged into one of these amps behind me, but I have to keep my general volume down a little bit today. But we have to check out that 385 plus switch, but first, turn the gain down. But first, if you're planning on picking up the 385 Mark II or anything else gear related, please consider using the affiliate links in the video description. Those links don't cost you anything extra, but a portion of each sale made from them is shared with me. It's a great way to support this channel doing things that, let's be honest with ourselves and each other, we were probably going to do anyway. The video description also has a link to the Get Offset Patreon, which grants you access to the exclusive Discord for Get Offset, which is one of my favorite corners of the internet. And back to the demo. According to Walrus, the 385 Plus switch is, quote, a dedicated gain stage that slams the front end of the circuit, delivering thick, saturated overdrive with more sustain than is available from the gain knob alone. Briefly put, it's a separate and more extreme voice, so let's hear it. I've dropped the gain back down all the way, so here's how that sounds. That's very cool. It's definitely more oomph, but it's more than that. It feels like its own thing rather than an extension of the gain knob. So let's crank it some more. can really hear that this thing has a ton of harmonics, that switch I mean, especially when I let a note or a chord really ring out. It's a unique kind of sustain that's unlike a lot of drive pedals I've played, and I really dig it. One thing I'll note is that the most obvious changes in the drive and the gain occur before the halfway point with that 385 plus switch in gauge. That's not to say they don't exist beyond that, I'll get into it, but it is the most obvious stuff, especially with chords. Beyond that, there are still differences, but they're not quite as apparent, at least with chords. However, if you're playing a solo, you can absolutely hear a difference in the sustain and harmonics. I really love pushing this to the limit when I'm playing leads. Sounds pretty good, but hear me out. Yeah, that is really, really sick. But we're not done yet. We have to check out this channel foot switch. Look, I love stuff like this for when you're hitting a solo or when you just want to limit the amount of pedals on your board. So let's start with a clean tone on A and a dirty one on B, and we'll hear how that works. The big thing is making sure it doesn't pop or anything, because that kind of ruins it when you're playing live especially. I suspect this won't do that. So I've gone back to the standard setting on the toggle, and I've made channel A my cleaner bass tone. And channel B will be for my solos, a little bit more overdriven. Let's no popping, it just changes the tone exactly the way you want. I can make that a little bit louder on the B side. Yep, that just works. Overall, this is a great sounding pedal that's pretty easy to dial in, which I personally like, but it doesn't feel super limited by its relatively simple controls. I can see why so many people like it, so huge thanks to Walrus for letting me check this out. Anyway, if you liked this video, there's another one on the screen which YouTube has chosen just for you. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and all that, and check out the affiliate links in the video description. Thanks for watching, thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.